Lucas Berregard.
Yes, he's had a funny season. His major championship form has been fantastic. 3 top 20s or 21st in one. And apart from then reaching the semi-finals of World Match Play when he beat Tiger, he's not done a lot this season. He does finish off the seasons well. The interesting thing with Lucas this week is that back in 2010, as an amateur, on his third start in a professional tournament, he went into the final round near the lead of the Eco Tour Championship, and he shot a 79. He fell away down into the 30s. But that's 19-year-old. It's the inexperience of youth. It's easy to forgive. He's a lot more rounded player now. I get the feeling that he will have unfinished business this week, and he's got a new caddy on his bag. So he's obviously thought he needs to make a change, and I've gone for top European because I've taken them 3 Americans out of the equation. You've got Patrick Reed, Xander Schauffele, and Matt Kuchar. I mean, I'm not too worried about Matt Kuchar because he doesn't win that often. I say that. He's won twice, hasn't he, this year? I shouldn't be saying that. I mean, they're class players. So I think for people that can, try and take him in top European with Paddy Power, 16 to 1 each way. I think Boyle Sports do him at 12 to 1 without the top 5 in the betting. So you get rid of Casey as well. So those 2 markets, it's fine to do him each way. You could get 8 places, which at 28 to 1 is fine as well. Yeah, I just quite like that niche market. And let's not forget, this time last season he was in a purple spell of form. He'd just missed out on winning at last week's event in Switzerland, and then went on to win at St Andrews in the Dunhill Links and Carnoustie there. So it's a good time of year. He promised last week, he looked like he'd back after a break, playing quite well, down in the late 20s, early 30s. But he did actually hover just off the first page on the leaderboard a lot. So I think we can expect him to be sharper for it this week. And like you said, Flash, if it rains, then his distance will put him at a serious advantage over the likes of the guy that won it last year, for argument's sake, Richard McAvoy, who kind of is not really a distance player. So if they get a bit of tough weather, you'll need someone like Breguard.
And also, you look at Richard McAvoy last year, he reversed into that win because of the likes of DeChambeau shooting high and you Reed shooting high. I mean, I think he ended up shooting a 72, which on a normal Sunday afternoon is definitely not going to get the job done. Let's look on top 10. Per Langfors, 50 to 1 with Unibet.
Yeah, keep your stakes small on this guy. But last year, on the minor tour, he won the match play at the Monster, and it was just a small tour event, but it shows he can play the course. He's got 1 top 10 this season down under on the European Tour. He's been a disappointment all season. I've been really disappointed with him. I've been backing him at these big prices a fair bit. But this week, last time out in his home country in the Scandinavian Invitational, he didn't play too bad. He promised like he was just not far off his game. So at 50 to 1 for a top 10 finish, have a little bet. You may have a nice little runner on Sunday afternoon.
Here's one for you, and I think that a lot of people are going to be licking their lips once you've said what you've got to say. But Jeff Winter, top 40 at 3.5, 5 to 2.
Yeah. Well, this goes back a bit even further with Jeff Winter. If you go back to the Eco Tour days, he was always at the top of the leaderboard on this course. Last year he was. So he's got like 3 tournaments. I think one's even hidden. There's some hidden form of a hidden tournament with him and Bloomstrand in that I used last year with Bloomstrand. And what it is, he seems to have a real liking for the course. We're taking the easy option. We're going to take the top 40 market because he's finished in the top 40 8 times this season. I think that's in his last 20 starts. So at 5 to 2, you're not going poor taking that. I will say anyone. I think top 40 is available with 3 firms, but it's fine to go to top 20 and half your stake if you want to as well, because he still makes top 20s, and he needs a big week as well as the season's coming to an end, but he has got a real course liking.
And I think that's what the theme's going to be. All the way down this show, it's going to be course liking and length off the tee, or good long iron players. I remember when in America I used to always go with Davis Love the third, good long irons, 3 irons, 2 irons, stingers under the wind. If it is windy, then you're going to want your bombers. What about this up and coming youngster? Matthew Nixon, top 40 at 4.2.
Yeah, he's in his usual dogfight to keep his playing privileges, and he's really used to it. Last time out in the Scandi tournament, he played pretty well, and his last top 10 was at Valderrama. Well, we know what Valderrama's like. That's a tough test for a golfer. He usually comes to form at this time of the season because the pressure's coming on for his playing privileges. And interestingly enough, last year he made the top 10. I don't think for a minute Nixon or Winther are going to win this tournament, but
don't need to.
That's right. They are not playing to win the tournament, and they are playing for the privileges. And I just feel that they're both fit perfectly, and the markets just make them a bet flash.
Well, they do, because the concentration. I mean, how many times do we see it that players go right down to the 11th hour, needing a result to get their card, and their concentration levels, it'll be fairways, greens, and hole your putts, and just make sure you hang around and let the other players push, because this is not a course that you can actually push on. Let's have a little look. Liam Johnson, top 20 at 8. 7-1 with Ball Sports.
Yeah, another one, except he's a little bit younger, and now he has promised a fair bit this season. I liked him last week. He finished 52nd, but he was actually on the first page of the leaderboard all week. And he played here last year, 22nd, and he has got a propensity, when he plays well, to be right up the top of the leaderboard. So he's either right up the top or he misses the cut a lot of the time. And, he's in the same boat. So he's going to be focused, like you said, Flash, and in the way they get their blinkers on and they become almost, if they're thinking right, if they're in the right frame of mind, they get in the zone. I remember when I used to play snooker, by the end of the season sometimes your ranking was under pressure. You had to win matches. And at that point, you kind of go into some kind of animal mode where you just play that one shot at a time, and that's really what you got to do in all sports. You just got to stay in the moment, and I wouldn't be surprised if Johnson, one of those 3 players we've just mentioned, makes a top 10. I nearly put Johnson up in top 10 or top GB and Ireland, because I think he's capable of a big performance, slightly bigger than the other 2. But I went for the safe option in our staking with him, but. I've got a feeling this kid's pretty good.
Well, you've gone top European, top 10, top 40, top 40, top 20. I'm just going to go straight outrights now, and I'm going to throw 4 curveballs in that I fancy you will love. I'm going to go with the first one, Ross Fisher. Sneaky long, won on the European Tour. He's 66-1 with Betfred. I mean, Ross has been doing so well on the American Tour. He's been on the fringes. I just think that there's a nice win on the European Tour for him again.
Flash, he's so consistent that he can have your top 7 finish place locked up in the first 2 rounds sometimes, and it just doesn't always finish off quite as well, his race. But he is ultra consistent, like you say. He does play long courses well. I did like him in the US PGA earlier in the season at a very long course. I think it's Bethpage, wasn't it? And, he is a player that you've got to consider this week because, like you say, his ball striking will keep him in it, tougher the weather, and it may just separate him from the field into the places. Then you can free roll the win, can't you?
That's it. I mean, one thing I've always aimed at Ross Fisher, he's a bit of a thinker, but I'm starting to think that he's now believing that he deserves to be in the higher echelons of the world rankings. Next one, Bernd Wiesberger, been injured, gets them big guns out. I mean, he is just took it to another level earlier on in the season. Now he's coming back. Home advantage. Maybe, they say beware the injured golfer, Craig. I'm hoping he doesn't try and hit it too hard and just keeps it in play.
I like him as a winner. If you get him down the stretch Sunday afternoon, he's liable to get the job done for you. He's one of them players that plays better the more the pressure. And we've seen this season with 2 wins. I think last season he had quite a lot of injuries, so he didn't play a full schedule. And he's keen, and I like the selection. I do. He's the similar sort of player to Lucas Bjerregaard.
Yep,
he's that sort of player. And actually, in some ways, his strike rate in contention is better than Bjerregaard's, to be truthful. So
he's got that mental strength, and I think that he may well be one of them names that pushes for the Ryder Cup, because he seems to have that belief that with his strength, I mean, he's almost gone in the opposite direction to Peters. I mean, they've both been the absolute bombers. One's gone on one, and one's in decline. So for me, obviously, it's near enough like home advantage. He hasn't got far. He'll be aware of the course. So, I mean, I like Bernd Wiesberger. Now, here's a slippery one for you, Craig. Hideto Tanahari hits greens, hits fairways, happy to take his time. Last year, final round 70, finishes tied 5th. And you can get him at 150 to 1.
Do you know, Flash, I put him in my draft article, and I've tipped him last week. And I thought, no, I've got too many in there. I'll take him out. And what I love about Tanahari is his strike rate for finishing the top 10. When he gets in the van, you'll get paid with him. So, I love him. He played well here last year. He's a smart golfer on tough courses. I think, again, he's had performances at Valderrama, places like that. So I really like him. There is an option for him to go in. I think you can go in top rest of the world with Bet365 at 40 to 1, 4 places. That's an interesting bet. I'm still, I'm still thinking, what is the best market for him? Because I really like him this week.
Well, I mean, you think it's a fifth of the odds. I mean, you're looking at like 25 to 1 to be in the top 7. So maybe if you just stretched it out, you're probably going to get double figures for being in the top 20 with a player that he never puts him out of the tournament. He's not going to be one of those that on Thursday is going to be 3 or 4 over par. Okay, well, my last one, homegrown. When I used to take my son for fittings and yardage controls, we used to look up on the top Europeans because obviously he wanted to be up there. He was 15-year-old. Maximilian Kiefer name was always on length. Maximilian Kiefer. He's 151 with Paddy Power, and you're getting the extra place, top 8. Yeah.
He's just had an injury-disrupted season. He started really well in the desert earlier in the year, and so once he's back sharp from his injury, and that'll be pretty soon, you're going to get a good price. And actually, at the price, I don't think you can go poor with Maximilian Kiefer. If you could get 150 to 1 for the next 10 weeks with him, you'd be happy. But chances are you won't, because he'll show up pretty quickly. Home advantage. I think he has played well in Germany before, and I really liked him at the start of the season. I thought he was going to be really up there on the race to Dubai, and I just think it's down to injury that he's not.
Yeah, and also he doesn't put them 4 rounds together, which you need to close out a tournament. I mean, you got these boys that do 4 okay rounds, and they're just walking cash machines, but they don't get the W. Craig, we're just going to run through your bets for the Porsche European Open in Hamburg. Do you want to just fire them off?
Yeah, I will. So we've gone through those others, but the other ones in the outright market I really like Lucas Herbert, an Australian. He had a bit of controversy at his last top 10 in the end of January with a rules infringement. I think it's taken him a bit of time to get his head back, and last week he finished strongly with 64. Like him. I've had a big bet on him myself at the opening shows, 66s. Christoph Blomstrand, second here last year. He'd gone missing. Had a big check. I think he must have been spending it on a beach or something, and he's gone missing to the last few months, and then last week he's third on the Challenge Tour. He's back here this week. Quite similar to McAvoy, coming from the Challenge Tour to the main tour this week. 150 to 1 easy val. We'll have a small each way bet on that. Matthias Schwab is playing so consistently, he can't be far away. So you can put him in each way. Whether he can win or not, I don't know. But like you say, Flash, 8 places with him is very attractive at the moment.
Yeah, did well last year as well.
He did. He did. He just bombed on the last round, sadly. And we've got to forgive him that and hope it doesn't affect him. But he's got a nice piece of form here before, so I think we've got to put him up. And he's multi top tens this season on the European Tour. So and then we just go to the ones we've already gone through there, which is Liam Johnson, Liam Johnson top 20, Jeff Winter top 40, Matthew Nixon top 40, Lucas Bregard top European. If you can't get top European without the favourites, and if each way's fine, 8 places, I like him, Lucas Bregard. And finally, the last one was the 50 to 1 shot, Per Langfors from Sweden. Just to have a small stake on that, and he's got a real liking for the course. He'll need to though, because he's been out of form all season.
Fingers crossed, Craig. Make that long winning run continue in Hamburg this week. Craig, until next time, see you soon.
Lovely, Flash. Yeah, great show. Thank you, mate.
You take care.